Dear friends, in recent years, when China faces U.S. sanctions, it has shown unprecedented determination and counterattack. China, which may have been considered cowardly in the past, has now stood up and responded to the U.S. challenge with a firm stance. In 2024, China took 3 major measures in the face of successive sanctions from the United States. It stopped using American chips, canceled wheat orders, and sold off U.S. Treasury bonds. These moves not only surprised the United States, but also had a considerable impact on it. So let's discuss what impact China's 3 measures will have on the United States. Decades ago, China was relatively backward in economic, technological, and military fields. This situation has caused China to face numerous sanctions and technological blockade challenges. The most obvious example is that following the Tiananmen incident in 1989, some countries imposed an arms sales ban on China. Faced with these challenges, China did not choose confrontation, but chose patience. After decades of development, China has not only become one of the world's largest economies, but also invests more than $400 billion in scientific and technological research and development every year, has trained many outstanding scientists and engineers, and achieved a series of major breakthroughs. For example, the Sunway Taihu supercomputer leads the world rankings. China's rise is like a bright star, shining brightly on the global stage, and its influence is growing day by day. But this rise has also caused concern and uneasiness in some countries. As a global superpower, the United States has recently adopted a series of sanctions against China in an attempt to curb China's development momentum. In March this year, the U.S. government issued a decree banning the use of the popular Chinese software TikTok. Shortly afterwards, the 5 major labor unions in the United States jointly launched a 301 investigation and petition campaign against China's shipbuilding industry, aiming to comprehensively investigate China's shipbuilding industry and take measures to protect domestic industries in the United States from unfair competition. In fact, this is not the first time that the United States has imposed sanctions on China. In the past few years, the United States has imposed sanctions on Chinese medical technology companies more than once, and has also joined forces with Japan and the Netherlands to restrict chip exports to China, while working with the European Union to block China's electric vehicle industry. But today's China is no longer the country that was easily contained in the past. It has become an awakened dragon, showing its rise to the world with unstoppable power. Faced with sanctions, China decided to adopt a tough counterattack strategy. So, what specific measures has China taken to respond to U.S. sanctions? What impact will these measures have on the United States? The first important measure was to cancel wheat orders. According to U.S. media reports from March 7th to 8th, China canceled an order of 240,000 tons of U.S. soft red winter wheat. Immediately afterwards, on March 13th, another batch of nearly 264,000 tons of wheat orders scheduled to be shipped to China was canceled. In just 2 weeks, China's canceled wheat orders totaled 504,000 tons. This action not only shocked the global market, but also greatly surprised the American agricultural community. They may have never thought that China, which was once their big customer, would change its stance so decisively. It is worth noting that U.S. agriculture will have a rare trade deficit in 2023, amounting to as much as $20 billion, which reflects the fragility of the U.S. agricultural market and over-reliance on external markets. China's large-scale cancellation of orders has directly hit U.S. agricultural exports, causing prices of agricultural products to fall sharply. The fruits of farmers' hard work for a year have instantly devalued, and their income has been greatly reduced. This is not only an economic loss, but also a serious blow to confidence in American agriculture. What's more serious is that this incident has triggered concerns about the competitiveness of U.S. agriculture and investors have begun to be cautious about the future of U.S. agriculture, which may lead to capital outflows and thus affect the long-term development of U.S. agriculture. The second important measure is to sell U.S. Treasury bonds. Not long ago, the January capital flow report released by the U.S. Treasury Department was like a bombshell that shocked the global financial market. The report shows that China decisively sold $18.6 billion of U.S. Treasury bonds that month, reducing its total holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds to $799.7 billion, the lowest level since 2009. China's reduction in its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds has directly changed the supply and demand relationship in the U.S. Treasury market. As an important financing tool for the development of the U.S. economy, changes in the price and interest rate of Treasury bonds affect the direction of the entire financial market. China's large-scale sell-off will undoubtedly put tremendous pressure on the U.S. Treasury market and may trigger a fall in Treasury bond prices and an increase in interest rates, thereby increasing the U.S.'s financing costs and posing a challenge to its economic development. Next, China aggressively converted U.S. dollars into gold, an action that significantly weakened the U.S. dollar's status as the global reserve currency. Gold, as a safe haven asset, has long been favored by global investors. China's gold purchases have continued to grow in recent years, and it has become one of the world's largest gold importers. This shift not only demonstrates China's preference for real assets, but also further weakens the U.S. dollar's influence in global financial markets. The U.S. dollar's status as the world's major reserve currency has been challenged, which has had a major impact on the United States' influence in the international financial field. For example, as China increases its gold purchases, the price of gold gradually rises, while the U.S. dollar index shows a volatile downward trend. This contrast not only highlights China's growing influence in global financial markets, but also indicates that the U.S. dollar's status as the world's major reserve currency may face new challenges. The third important measure is to ban American chips. According to the survey, China's new policies will further eliminate Intel and AMD chips in government computers. As one of the world's largest semiconductor markets, China's demand is critical for U.S. chip makers. If the Chinese government's computers no longer use American chips, it will mean that the share of American chips in the Chinese market will drop significantly. This change will not only affect the financial performance of U.S. chip manufacturers, but may also have a negative impact on their global competitiveness. Secondly, in response to China's new policies, government agencies and companies in other countries and regions may begin to look for alternative chip suppliers. This may lead to the restructuring of the global semiconductor supply chain and promote the diversification of technology and the development of independent innovation. More importantly, in recent years, the U.S. government has significantly increased investment and support for technological innovation, especially in the semiconductor field. But if China's new policies really challenge the United States' position in the global semiconductor market, the U.S. government may further increase investment and policy support to maintain its leadership in the field.